All right. That get you pumped up, man. I should have did a quick add to screen there, and Ryan was doing some pretty mean air guitar a while ago. So I should have shared that with y'all. Let me bring the guys in here. I've got an empty hole here tonight. I was expecting a guest, and I'm hoping that he can show up a little bit later, but had power go out at his house, so I hope he can get power and join us here in a little bit. So, welcome everybody. Another CNC Q A podcast. If you remember last week, um, we I was doing the unboxing of that new monitor I got, and as promised, I have figured it all out. It's the instructions really sucked. I don't feel too stupid because the instructions were pretty bad, but anyway, got it all figured out and really liking it so far. Also, I was going to build myself a kind of a swinging arm to put on the side of the thing to hold the monitor, and then I looked online, I saw these things for $20, and I thought, well, yeah, I might as well just buy something because it's similar to what I use here, holding two monitors. Um, but then I'm glad I didn't try to do an unboxing on that because it was packaged pretty well. But when I got it out of the box, one of the welds, and it looked to me like probably a robot welder was not programmed right and it missed the weld. It just ended up being a little tiny tack. So when you put the weight of the monitor on there, it started uh, coming apart. So I had to take it all down and get my welder out and put an ugly weld on it, but it is holding it. I'm pretty happy with that. But
Boogers stick good.
that's right. It's not pretty, but it's stuck together good. So and that's probably the first thing I've tried to weld in I don't know 3 or 4 years probably. But
Yes, this is the trailer, right?
yeah, that's probably the last time. So
Yeah.
it's been a minute. So anyway, what's up with you, Mr. Corliss? Anything new going on?
Just kind of taking up space in the universe.
I'm seeing that he looks like he's frozen / not there.
Yeah, he's
I'm frozen.
no, you're good. You're good.
Oh,
I don't hear him.
All right. So what's up with you, Mr. Ryan? You want to talk about your Saturday night gig? I can do the little promo thing here. Oh, I don't know what happened to your picture. There it is.
Yeah, I'm right there. Yeah, we're doing Saturday night shows. If you're not familiar, it's making it up as we go. We talk about usually the latest goings on of CNCs and lasers and 3D printing videos and whatever we're up to. It's good times.
All righty.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. Well, I was going to talk tonight a little bit about um, limit switches. And when I say limit switches, I'm talking about the little mechanical kind that everybody's used to seeing. You can buy these in. I've got two unopened packs here of three. They probably were I don't know $4 or $5 for a pack
Yeah.
of three. So they're like really dirt cheap. But I was going to talk about these as well as I have bought some proximity sensors, and I really hope my guest can show up because he knows a lot about proximity switches or sensors, and I don't. And I had a ton of questions for him because I bought a set off of Amazon, and I'll show those here in just a little bit. Oh, I know what I was going to do. Let me do something right quick. I found something. I was kind of looking around on that old computer just to see what all was on there, and I found something that I thought I would share with you tonight. Maybe I'll get a kick out of it. Let's see if I can do the screen share.
I don't see or hear from Paul. So does everybody out in the chat? Can you see and hear Paul?
I see him.
Yeah,
I see like a
I'm
frozen
talking.
picture of him, but what's on screen is nothing.
Can you hear me, Dave? Can you hear me, Dave?
I can hear you fine, Paul. Can everybody else hear Paul? Let me.
Ryan, you seem to freeze up once in
Maybe
a
it's
while.
me.
Well, let me do this screen share, and we'll sort out these other things. This is an old picture I found. Now, this, believe it or not, this is my garage. It's not near as cluttered back then than it certainly is now. But uh, you see 3 Sidewinder CNCs there. The one right in the center there with the Porter Cable 690 on it, that is the same machine that I have out here now. That's my original machine. These photos were taken probably spring of 2008. And this was my production runs here, I guess. See, here's another one. Every one, and here's a cool shot. That monitor back, there's my old, I think that's a compact computer and a CRT monitor back there. That's how old that is. But yeah, back in the day when I was making and selling these, I would get the parts from my fabricator, and I'd bring them home and I'd lay them out on that table you see in the foreground there, and paint them with my favorite color, machine tool gray. And then I would build every machine, put stepper motors, cut the lead screws, everything, put them all together, and actually run them before I would take them back apart and put them in the wooden crates that I built. So really, really tedious process, but
That's an old picture, Kenneth.
But that right there is how they ship, less the router mountain router
Nice.
back in the day.
Very nice.
Thought I
Those
would.
were all made out of plywood too.
Nope.
No, that's sheet metal. That's all metal.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, that was the predecessor of the orange ones.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, these are the
Oh, okay.
oldest ones. These, like I said, these pictures are all probably from the spring of 2008. So anyway, let me get that back off of here. Just thought you might enjoy seeing
Now,
them. I've got some more.
did you bend all the metal, Dave?
I didn't. I
On
had
those?
a job shop, a sheet metal job shop, make all that stuff for me. I would
Hmm.
have enough parts to make about 10 of those done at one time, and then, like I said, I'd bring them home. I'd sort all the parts, spread them out on that table, and paint them machine tool gray with old rattle can. That's that was my process. And then, after the paint dried, there was a lot of things that got tapped. I had a ton of tapped holes, and I was doing them all by hand, and it was fun times. I mean, it's not like I was selling 15 of them a week or something, so I had time to do all that. So, because I was still working full time.
So
Uh,
what color? What brand of spray paint were you using on them?
Ace Hardware.
Oh, okay.
That was the color. That's what they called it, machine tool gray.
Yeah.
So, and I would get people to ask me, well, what color can I get? And I was like Henry Ford. I said, you can get any color you want as long as it's machine tool gray. But anywho, let's see here. I'm checking the chat, hoping to see if we see my guest in there, but he may still be without power. So, but anyway, we'll go ahead and get started talking. Maybe he'll pop in here in a little bit.
I'll send him a text and see if he got his power back.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Uh,
Yep.
Well, let me ask the folks out there in the chat. How many people have a CNC machine that uses limit switches or homing switches? Um, and how many? And what kind of limit switches and homing switches do you have? Are they the little mechanical kind like this, or is it the proximity switches? Or I keep saying switches, proximity sensors like this. If you have proximity sensors, you probably have a more higher end CNC, unless you just decided to put them on yourself. So, I don't know what's going on with this over here. I think I'm going to turn this off. Oh, no, maybe it's back up to speed. But anyway, let me see if I can. I think I will turn this off. I don't need this on. Let me get something else going over here. I was going to try to put together some pictures today, and I kept getting confused on the different types. And I thought, well, I'm just going to use a screen share and do Amazon. It's probably the easiest way.
Hey Kenneth, have you been using your new toy on your CNC? Kenneth's got a little laser for his CNC.
All right, let me try to reshare my screen here, and we'll go through and take a look at some of this. This is kind of what I'm talking about. Like I said, these are dirt cheap. Here you can see it's $7.99 for like 6 pieces of these little micro switch, which I think that's probably the same thing I was holding up. Because I got about 9 of them right here in front of me. But there's all kinds of little cheap ones here, and there's nothing really wrong with these little mechanical switches. I know some people don't like them, but let's see. I'm pretty sure this is. Yeah, that's the same thing as what I got right here in the package in front of me. But I ran these on my Gatton CNC and never really had any problem with them. They, as long as you set them up right where it's not going to bend that arm back, because once you ever bend it, then you might as well just replace that switch. But they always seem to do the job. They're not real pretty or anything, but they do have it where if you're looking at these, you can see there's 3 places to put your wires, and you're only going to have 2 wires running to these. So let me get my glasses and look at, because they're not showing the others. Okay, here it is. Yeah, if you put it in the top one, which would be right here, and then that bottom one down here, that would be normally closed. And if you want to run it normally open, you would put it here and here. This is the common down here. And I think if you look close, you can see where it says NC and NO. And let's see if this is the same. Yeah, this is the exact same brand as what I'm showing here, made in Japan.
Yeah.
So they are pretty good. I mean, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, and when you can get 6 of them, you can put them on all corners of your machine and the top and bottom of your Z if you want. Although I don't know why anybody would put one at the bottom of the Z, because it's pretty much got a limit when it hits the table. It's not going to move much farther after that. So, well, let me come over here and I'll click on. Yeah, this is that fancy arm I got, and right up here is where that weld was broke. Well, I guess you can't see it here, but yeah, I was not real happy about that. I mean, I know it was only $20, but still, come on, people. But this is what I purchased, and I've been testing some of these out. These are uh, proximity sensors, part number SN04-N, and it says normally open. And then these are called an NPN NO. Well, I know the NO stands for normally open, but I had some questions for Jim. I was really hoping he could make it. So
He's he doesn't have his power back yet, but he's going to try and hop on anyway.
okay, all right, good. He's already got the link. I sent him that earlier today, so hopefully he can make it on. So anyway, this is what I have now. I ordered some other ones. Let me show you those because I got to thinking about it. I had a little trouble with the wiring. Like right here's how they show you to wire it, and of course these say NPN normally open, and I don't really want them normally open. I want them normally closed. So this wiring diagram was not correct for the way that I wanted to run them. So I had to play around, and there's only 3 wires. So, after a few minutes, you can get the right combination when there's only 3 of them. And I finally figured it out and got them to work like I want to. In fact, I have one on the Z and one on the X axis. Kind of
He's out in the chat, Dave.
okay. All right. Well, if he's unable to join, I'll just ask and wait for him to respond in the chat. Anyway, so I had to figure out the combination, but I do have 2 of them working, and like I say, they're just kind of jury rigged. I've got some alligator clip wires with alligator clip on each end, just to try to get it rigged up to test those 2. And so far, I've got both of those 2 on the X and the Z working like I want. And the reason I don't have them already put on the Y yet is I'm waiting on the very last bracket to hold the proximity sensor off my 3D printer. It's printing as we speak. So, but anyway, so this is what I got. I got a pack of 4 of these for like $15. You can see I bought them just the other day. And now, but then I got to thinking about it, and I'm thinking, well, maybe this isn't the right one. Maybe I need this one that's normally closed. And of course, when I come and check the wiring thing, it doesn't even match because this says that it's an NPN NC, which is normally closed, but then the wiring diagram says PNP NC. So I don't know if that would be the right one for those or not. And these were supposed to be delivered today. However, Amazon let me down. They did not come. Now they're saying they'll be here tomorrow.
Amazon.
And we'll wait and see if I get them. But anyway, Jim, if you're out there and can hear me ask this question, my first question to you was going to be, what is the difference between the PNP and the NPN? And I know down here in this thing, it says NPN means common positive voltage. The output is negative voltage. And with PNP, the common negative voltage and the output is positive voltage. And of course, normally open, NO means normally open, and NC means normally closed. But I was hoping you could get on here because I'd really like to have you explain it in, proximity sensors for dummies version. so, so that maybe I can understand, because I'm not an electronic guy. I play around with stuff until I get it to work. And like I said, I have got those other ones to work, but I don't know if it will work for long, because I don't know if I don't understand why I was able to get normally open proximity sensors to work by changing the wiring and get it normally closed. And I'm thinking, if you can just swap the wires around to get it to run the way you want, why do they sell all these different ones? That was one of the questions I had. So, but let me go back
Oh, he
to,
just answered. He just answered you out there, Dave.
okay, let's see what he says. PNP will supply voltage to a circuit. Non will allow current to flow like a switch. Think PNP is power supply and NPN is a light switch. Okay, well, Jim, since you're able to at least watch the thing here, let me go back to uh, the ones that I have on the machine right now. Like I said, this is what I've got, a pack of 4. I got 2 of them on there, and they are a normally open NPN NO, normally open switch. Okay, now when I come to right here, this is how they say to wire it for normally open. It says take the black and the brown, put them together, and put that to your positive, because you've only got 2 wires coming out of your controller for your input, and then put the blue to the negative. Well, I had to do something totally weird. Like I said, I had to play around until I could get it to work the way I wanted. And the way I have it is I have the brown and the blue tied together going to, let me check. I can't even remember now because I've switched it around so many times. Yeah, going to the, let's see, going to the positive, I think. No, I'm sorry, negative. And then I have the lone black wire going to the positive. So I don't know, but like I said, I've got 2 of them on there. I've tested them. I can swing the camera around there and fire that thing up and show you. So they seem to be working the right way, but I still was very confused about the different types, what the difference is, and um, you know, the way you have to wire them. So I guess another question I would have for you, Jim, is can you? Okay, let's see. He says European color code is blue, brown, black output. Okay. Okay. Well, out of the 2 that I've shown, like I said, the ones I've got right now are a NPN normally open, and I've had to fiddle the wires around to get those to work. But I have got some coming tomorrow that are NPN normally closed. So what would your recommendation be, Jim, on which ones I should use for the machine? That's why I haven't, like I said, I got 2 of them on there, but they're just kind of jerry rigged together with some alligator clips because I didn't want to do anything semi-permanent until I talk to you tonight. Because even though I've been able to change the wiring around and get these to work, I don't know that maybe it's one of those things where they'll work for a while like that and quit or something. I don't know. So anyway, that's that was my question. Let's see.
Open or close signal.
Okay, he says depends on what the machine needs, open or closed signal. Well, I'll tell you what.
Typically they're grounding out, right? I think like on the Arduinos and all that, the limit switch is going to ground.
Well, I check. This controller that I'm using. It's not one I built. It's a G3 CNC that
Yeah.
Stacy built, and it has a wire. In fact, I've got another one right here, but it's got a connector that's just two two pins,
Hmm.
and then you've got a red and a black. And so you plug this into the socket on the controller where it says limit. So you're running all your limit switches off of this. You're not plugging each one in different places. You're going to have to, what do you call it, daisy chain them or whatever
Yeah.
to get them to work right. So what I've done is I've got this plugged into where it says limit, and then where it comes out, I just have these red and black wires stripped, and then I have my brown and blue together, and then my black together. And of course, to get the two switches to work, when I was testing them separately, you just hook the brown and the blue together, and then hook that to I can't remember. I forgot to bring my notes out here. I think it was the negative, and then the black goes to the positive, and it would work. Well, then of course, when I tested the second one separately, I shut off the other one and got it working. So I thought, okay, the one on the X is working, the one on the Y is working. And then when I went to put them together, I forgot that you can't just connect both of them the same way. You have to do the daisy chain thing. So I did it, and I couldn't get them to work. In fact, it wouldn't work any. As soon as you go to hit reference all home, it would trigger up an error. And then I went and I was sitting in there eating, and I thought, and then it suddenly the light bulb come on. I'm like, wait a minute, when you run them all off of one pin, you can't put all the positives together and all the negatives together. You got to go positive to negative, and go around that way. So I came out here and redid it, and now I've got that much working with those. So, but I'm still, like I said, I'm still confused because I'm like, okay, well, should I wait until I get the normally closed? Because that is technically the way I have this wired now, is because they say in the, let me add this back on here and come back somewhere over here. Yeah, here it is. It says the light is off if it's normally closed, and the light is on if it's normally open. Well, I have it where the way I have it wired, the light is off. The light only comes on when it's detecting metal, when it's tripping. So, and again, that's why I wanted to talk to somebody who knows more about this stuff. Because is it okay to take these switches that are meant to be wired normally open and switch the wires around and then operate them as normally closed? And if so, are they going to last, or should I go ahead and swap them back out when I do the ones tomorrow? I'll probably be testing the ones tomorrow, uh, anyway, too. So, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to, if you guys will keep an eye on things, I will swing this camera around.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch out.
See if I don't know what all. Yeah, I think you can see everything right there. All right, let me. I've got to turn. I had the controller turned off because it kind of, these fans are really loud. They really whistle. So I'll have to exit out of this and reboot this to get it to connect with the.
I can add you as a little screen on that if you want to.
And I'm gonna pull this over here so y'all don't see my. Oh, I don't have to put my password thing in it. No.
Well, we can't see it. You're not up on the screen anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can
So
add
let's
you.
switch it to. There we go. Are you driving, Ryan?
I was going to, but there you go.
Okay, well, go ahead and drive. Let me
Hey,
scoot this step.
Dave.
Yeah.
Jim said that can he help you out tomorrow because where he's at, he can't see the anything on his phone, and it's pretty loud where he's at.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that'd be great. I don't know when Amazon is going to come. I'd like to do some testing on those other switches, or I keep saying switches, sensors when they come. But I just wanted to show maybe he'll be able to see, or the rest of y'all will be able to see how this works so far. And like I said, even though I'm not sure about whether these are the right sensors to be using with this, they do seem to be working. I'm not going to move this out too far. And I'm just right now I only have the X and the Z. So now when I hit reference all home, you can see I've got a little block here and I've got a hex bolt stuck here that's the metal that it detects. And then over here I've got another hex bolt uh, in this 3D printed bracket, and I've got the other one mounted on that bracket there. So, and unless my wiring come loose with my alligator clips, this should work. So let me see. Have I got it where you can see it good?
Yeah.
I don't want to step on that cord. Okay, yeah, I think, let me move this just a little bit. Okay, I think you can see all of it in there. So now when I hit
He's
reference
going to
all home,
contact you. He's going to contact you tomorrow, Dave.
what's that, Paul?
He's going to contact you tomorrow.
Okay. All right, so let me hit reference all home. There goes the Z. The X isn't moving, so, oh, wait a minute, it's not done. Yeah, I forgot it's doing it twice. There we go. There we go. Now it's moving over there. So it does the Z first. Normally it would do the Y next, but I don't have that connected yet. So now it's going over there. It goes over and triggers and backs up and then comes back in real slow and then backs up again. So there's what I've got so far. That's, and like I said, I'm still confused about the different types of sensors, but the way I have those wired, they are working the way that I want them to work. So hopefully,
So it's hard to tell from the watching it right here, but how close is it getting to the stop or whatever? Like, is that a settable distance, or is it kind of it is what it is?
well, you have to get pretty close. It gets, uh, I haven't measured it, but because it's kind of hard to measure when you just have to see when watch it close and see when the light comes on. But if I bring, well, let's see if we can do this. Can you see this where my finger is right here,
Yeah.
Ryan?
Uh-huh.
Okay, watch right here where this light is, and I will slowly, or try to slowly, bring this up. I'll just try to bump it.
Oh, I saw it
See how
flash.
close it is, and it hadn't come on yet.
Yeah, it flashed.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Oh, now you're hitting it. There, I saw it flash again.
Okay. I guess I'm missing it because I'm looking at the
Yeah, it
keyboard.
comes on and goes right back off.
Okay.
So probably a quarter of an inch or so.
Yeah, now I noticed when I was doing this, like there it goes up. You can see how it comes back down.
Yeah.
And I've really got a lot of room up here, and it's not it's not going to really make that much difference, but there's really a lot of room right there. And I thought, well, let me adjust the pull off on this thing. Well, I couldn't figure out how to do it, and so I got to looking online, and according to all the experts on the internet, which they're always right, there is no way to adjust the pull off in Mach 3. There is in Mach 4,
Huh.
but not Mach 3. So you're stuck with whatever is built into this. So that's why if you look close at this bracket that I have over here on this side, it comes up the side of this upright, and then it steps out, because I wanted to try to get a little closer to here, because if I had it come straight up, it would go and there would be a much bigger gap here. So I was trying to
Yeah.
get as much out of my machine as I can. But so far, the way these are working, I'm pretty stoked about it, because as soon as I can get the other bracket for the y-axis, I'm going to put one on each side of the y-axis, and then I'm using the homing script that came with my old Avid, because it goes back. Let me go ahead and remove this. With the Avid, when it goes back and it hits one switch, it corrects itself. It moves both of them and lines itself back up. And I've never had anything like that on this machine, but because it's made out of such heavy metal, if I thought that it was out of whack and racked in the least little bit, all I had to do was jog it forward until it hit the very front. And you can watch to see if one hits before the other one, you just keep holding the button, let the other one hit, and then back it off. Then they back off the same. So that was one way. But I figure if I'm going to do these proximity sensors, I might as well do one on each side and then adjust them. I'll have to play around with getting the sensor set just the right spot, and who knows if they'll have the same sensibility or whatever. But I'll have to home it and then jog it forward and check the gap at the front, to see if I get it right. But anyway, I think these are going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about getting the old Sidewinder brought into the 21st century, putting these different things on there. But anyway, I don't know if anybody got anything at all out of all that gibberish, but
Jerry's out there. Hey, Jerry.
And I really, like I said, I wish I knew more about this electronic business than what I do, because I was just telling somebody earlier today. I said, it don't make sense that, and they make about 4 or 5 different types of these things. It's like you have a NPN normally open, then you got a PNP normally open, then you got a NPN normally closed, and a PNP normally, and I'm like, why do they make all these different kinds instead of just saying, here it is, but if you want to wire it like this, you do it this way. If you want to wire it like this, you do it this way. Because it seems to me that, because I obviously do not have that wired the way they said to do it for normally open.
Yeah.
But my sensors are acting exactly the way I want them to. Wired totally different. So
Gary's asking if you saw the teaser video he just posted. He's excited. I was looking for it, but is it on Facebook or is it on YouTube, Jerry?
Yeah, I'm
looking at.
If he just posted it, I haven't seen it because.
Oh, is it the extension kit?
Is that what it is?
On YouTube.
Kit for something?
Yeah, he did a quick video on an extension kit. for the
It says YouTube, I think. YT.
Rover 4030 V2.
Okay. Oh, now is that the same thing as what Pawpaw's Workshop has been doing?
No, well, the one that Paul Paul's Workshop had was it's a Genmitsu 4x4 machine. Like, so the whole thing is it came as a 4x4 machine.
Okay.
Looks like Jerry's talking about this his Prover 4030 V2, and he's got an extension kit. How big does it make it, Jerry? I'll have to watch that. It's a quick video. It's less than 4 minutes long.
Okay. Well, I'll check it out. I usually watch all of Jerry's stuff.
Yeah, everybody should go watch it.
Exactly. Especially as Saturday afternoon thing. I try to watch as much as that as I can, but that's a bad time for me because in the middle of the day, Saturday, I'm doing stuff.
Yeah, 54 inches square. So wow, that makes it pretty good size.
Wow.
Nice.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
As they say, that's bigger than my old Avid. Or my old assembly table is right.
Yeah, the old assembly table.
I was just going to say, just think of the stuff you could stack on that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, have y'all noticed this is my little 30 by 58 thing, and it was pretty much clean last week where I did the monitor unboxing. You can see I've got it all jumbled up with wires and testing different 3D printed brackets and all kinds of stuff. Here's my box of wiring cable and all. That's probably a little heavier. I've debated on getting some thinner stuff because I know those things. This is, I think, 18 gauge, and I thought, well, that's way heavier than it needs to be. But I mean, good Lord, look how much of it I got. So
yeah,
I think I'll probably go ahead and run it anyway. I didn't want to buy a new, and I've got another box. This is the 18 gauge 2-wire. Basically, they call it speaker cable. But I bought 500 feet of it. Probably hadn't even used 100 feet off of there. And I've got another box around back in the shop that's 500 feet, but it's the 4-wire 22 gauge that I use for the stepper motors. But,
yeah, Jack's still around, Jerry. Eating as much as ever.
What was that?
Jerry was asking if your pup is still with us.
Yeah, old Jack's still around. He's probably in there sawing some logs about now. He's not a night owl. I'm not a night owl, but he can't even stay up as late as I do, which is pretty bad. Especially considering he sleeps probably 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
all the naps he gets that I don't get. But anyway, let me get back. I see. Jim made this comment earlier. He said it depends on what the machine needs, open or closed signal. All right. Well, let me ask you this, Jim. I've got 2 sensors on there that are normally open sensors, but I've switched the wires around, and I'm assuming because of the way they're operating that they are now normally closed because the light is off when they're just sitting there, and it's only comes on when they're triggered. So are those okay?
I think he's gone, Dave.
What's that?
I think he's gone.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's going to get a hold of you tomorrow.
Okay. Gotcha. Man, I hated that he couldn't come on tonight because I know he knows all about that stuff. In fact, I don't know exactly where Jim worked, but I know he always used to say that his company made I forget the name of them, made the proximity sensors that were on my Avid. So, which are a little more high dollar than piece.
They're at least $12 a piece.
Yeah,
Well, then they have the Avid tax.
yeah, exactly. Because I know that was like an extra option when I ordered that Avid, and I don't remember how much it is, but they're pretty proud of their stuff.
Yeah.
I can tell
They're proud of their Alibaba purchase.
you. Yeah.
I remember I was looking at Bob CNC, his information there, his KL series.
Is your mic? Have you got your mic swung out of the way?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, it's here, but let me check and make sure it's.
Okay. Well, you're
it might be
sounding kind of funny to me.
Oh yeah. Let me see. Maybe it's going to the
I
wrong.
thought maybe you just had your mic swung way over to the side or something.
No, it went back to the web camera for some reason here. All right, sorry about that.
Be better. There we are.
Well, apparently I'm the only one to notice. So
Yeah. Nobody cares what I say. Sounds okay, but looks funny. Yeah, thanks, Jerry. Yeah,
well, we can't do nothing about the looks.
Yeah.
Jerry. We might can fix the sound, but we can't help the looks.
Yeah. No matter how hard I try, but the KL series I think uses magnetic proximity sensors.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I thought that's interesting too.
I'll have to take a closer. I guess he still has them on the website. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'll be able to see a picture of them.
Yeah, in this manual documentation, you can at least see it. I'll see if I can pull it up. Oh, come on, you dumb thing. Let's see here. See if I can find it.
Yeah, Jerry said he sees my pics daily of him on Facebook talking about my dog Jack, but never here. So he was wondering. Jack he does not like to hang out here. In fact, like today I think it got up to like 81, just beautiful weather today. And I was out here pilling around with this, I'd come out here and I'd kind of measure and take a scratch, piece of paper and a pen and scratch out a sketch of what I wanted my sensor bracket to look like or whatever. And then I would go in, draw it up in Design Spark Mechanical, get one printed out. And while that one was printing out, I'd come out here and I'd measure for another one and stuff. So I kept bringing Jack out here and he'd get one of his squirrely dudes and he likes to sit out in the driveway. But, when it's 81 degrees out and the sun's shining and he's black and shiny like he is, it don't take long for him to get hot. He'll pick up his squirrel and come in here and go, "Hey, come on, Dad."
Yeah, we're done with this mess.
Yeah. He's not a big fan of hot sunny days. Jerry said he used to have a dog named Jack. How about that?
All right, I got an eBay item number for you.
Okay.
These are the ones that Bob uses.
And it's on eBay.
Yep.
All right, shoot.
All right, 1164 8649 0726.
Let's see what that gets me. Oh, yeah, right there they are. All right, let me share with the good folks out there in the chat. Ah, yeah, these kind.
And Bob's doing it with free shipping.
$25 for 4 pieces. Now look at that. 7 meters of wire, 22 feet. That's good because these little ones I've got, Let me get this up here. Like if you unwind this, and I unwound one and measured it. It's about a meter, about 39 inches,
Yeah.
which that's fine if you're putting it on some other kind of machine. But when you have CNC stuff and you got to run it through a drag chain, easy for me to say, huh? You need even on a machine this small, you've probably got at least 4 feet in each drag chain. So there's 8 feet, and then it's got to get down to I think what my plan was, y'all know I love to use these little terminal block things. So I 3D printed this little box. This is the bottom part, and I've got a couple of holes in it because all of that's sitting on a piece of plywood. So at the very back of the machine, I'm going to screw this down, and then I'm going to make all my connections. I've got some holes here where I can run the thing through and make all my connections. And then I have this, which is basically just a cover. I hope I'm not showing it. So that's just to help keep the dust out, but it'll be at the back of the machine. So all of those wires coming from each of right now 4, maybe as many as 6. Well, let's see. No, 4, maybe as many as 7, because I may buy some more once I figure out which ones for sure I need to use. And I may go ahead and put one on the left side of the X, and then may also put one in each thing in the front. Although that's really overkill, because really the main reason I'm putting these on here is so I can be able to home the machine. All the years that I used that machine, did I just disappear?
Nope.
No,
What though?
Okay, I'm black. I just got a black screen on
you
my.
you froze. You're frozen.
Okay, let me.
I don't know. I can hear you still.
I can hear you. Yeah. It's like a ghost. It's like a ghost talking.
The ghost of CNC past.
Yeah, yeah. The ghost of Sidewinder CNCs.
Yeah. So that's cool. Doing I can see definitely putting in the it's the Ryan and Paul show now. I could definitely see putting the style in than the the old school switches. I don't know one way or the other if you have to though.
Well, I can't get this silly thing the size right.
Oh yeah, I got you. Hold on a second. You got to go to shapes. There you go.
Okay, throw me back in that corner up there. There you go. You drive better than I do. Yeah, what I was saying is, before I disappeared, is all those years I used that machine, I didn't have any wires from limit switches or anything, because I didn't have any limit switches on it. I ran it just with the wires from the stepper motors, and even those, just you have 2 motors out the back for the y-axis, and they don't move, so that the wires just kind of hung down, and then the one over on the left side for the X, it was long enough that it would just kind of hang and move without getting hung up. Same thing for the Z, same thing for the one with the router. But all of that stuff I'm going to try to clean up, and that's why I wanted to put these homing switches on there, or homing, we'll call them homing sensors, so that I have the ability to home it. And then once you are able to home the machine, then you can set up soft limits and turn that on in software. Then you don't really need a physical limit switch on the other side. So I'll probably just use the two in the back to straighten the Y, and then the one on the Z and the X that will home it to the back right, and then turn on the soft limits and then call it good.
Now that little box that you 3D printed to hold your strip in, did you special order machine gray filament for that?
No, it's PET G. It's just plain old PET G.
But is it machine gray?
Well,
Does
no,
it match?
these all the little brackets and things that I've printed for the to hold the sensors and all that kind of stuff. This is just some gray. This is Tech Bear's gray PET G filament.
Oh, I
And
just
if you
wondered if it
look
matched the
close,
Sidewinder.
if I go over there and I hold it up close, it doesn't match exactly. It's not a machine tool gray. It's a darker gray.
Oh, Marcelo wants to know if there's any advantage of using sensors over switches.
Well,
that
that was another question I was going to ask Mr. Bashirs. One thing I like about, and this is the first time I've ever really fooled around. When I have done it when I used to work at a place years ago, we had a machine that it used the proximity switches more like what Ryan was showing on that Bob CNC thing. They were the round cylindrical kind. But so this is my first experience using these on a, well, other than my Avid, of course, I didn't design that one, so it was all their doing. But already I'm thinking I'm going to like this better simply because when you have these set up, they work and they do everything, but they never touch. They never,
there's no
whereas with
collision.
these, they have to physically touch to click. And then if you go drive it too far past, like I said, these have that roller thing. So you really need to have something like this so that it rolls, and this is hard to do, until it clicks and then can come off. So, but when you're dealing with stuff where you have to make physical contact for it to work, there's always the opportunity for it to be going too fast and hit too hard and tear it up and stuff like that. Whereas the proximity switches cut off when they get within that distance, but nothing's ever actually touching. So could you probably screw those up too? Yeah, you probably could if you really worked at it. But of all the times I've ran my Avid, and Lord knows it was way faster than that thing, it stops like that.
Yeah.
And plus there was on the Avid, there was like a rubber bumper type thing on the side, on the X too. Well, actually everywhere, but so I guess that might be a small advantage. I think they look cooler than these things. But like I said, I ran a set of these on my Gatton CNC. I only had 3 of them. I had one on each axis, and that's all I did. I used it for homing, and the only way it was a limit switch is if the Z went too high or the Y went too far back or the X went too far to the right, because going the other way, I didn't have anything. But I never had a problem with them. But, most of the stuff, like I said, I'd home it and it'd go to the back right and home. Then I'd bring it out, and I was always running pretty much the same thing, which was Gatton CNC kit. So it never really got close to being being out of bounds there.
Well, I'm kind of debating which route to go then with the with my new CNC.
Well,
I don't know
here,
if I should go. I was planning on just going with regular switches, but because I had some.
well, here's another thing. See, I had played around with putting some of these on that machine when it was still around back in the shop.
Yeah.
And here is an example of some of the crazy little brackets, you know. So you'd mount the switch here, and then this would slide. To me, it's a lot easier to try to figure out the mounting because see, you've got these two slots right here,
Yeah.
and because you'll want to adjust it. Now they come with some long screws and a bracket like this.
Yep.
And see, but it's meant to, you attach the switch to this part, and then it has two other screws where you would basically drill and tap holes and then put the screws in here, and then you have that much,
Some adjustment.
show it, that much play to slide it back and forth. But to me, it's a whole lot easier, and I think you would agree, to try to figure out how to mount this.
Yeah.
You know, because you're basically putting a long slot. And like I said, you can mount the 3D bracket that not only mounts this, but also mounts wherever it's going on your machine. And in my case, you can't really see them. And the other one's running. That may have been what I heard on my phone. It may have finished on my 3D printer back there. Oh, it just finished now. It's done. So that'll be the last bracket over there on the back left. But, you know, I found it really easy because on the back here, the machine is metal. So I don't even have to worry about putting something for it to trigger it. I'm just mounting the switches on the back. And when the uprights come back and get close, that'll trigger it.
Yeah.
On the Y. So I only had to worry about the Z and the X. And like I said, I just made brackets, or one bracket that sticks up on the right hand side for the X, and then I have a little block, and both of them have just a hex bolt. So the head of the hex bolt is what triggers the sensor. So I just think all the way around, and I know since you've got the same 3D printer I've got, that it would be a lot more fun for you to design brackets that work with this.
Yeah.
And you saw these are all cheap. The ones I have coming tomorrow, these I bought 4, and I don't understand the difference in price. These are the normally opens. There was a 4-pack for $14.99. All right. Then the other ones that I got coming, they were a 2-pack for $9.99. So they were a little bit more, and they're normally closed, and these are normally open, but it depends on how you wire them, because I've got them wired to work as normally closed. So that's what I mean. It all confuses me. Like, are they just doing this to sell more product, or what? I don't understand it, because I really thought that if those were normally open and I wanted them to work normally closed, that I wouldn't be able to do it no matter how I wired it. But it doesn't work like that. The combination of the wires I got, you saw a while ago, it works fine. But like I said, back to your original question, I think these are easier to figure out the mounting locations and how to get something to trigger them and all that. Whereas with these, you not only got to figure out how to mount these and route the wiring but you've also got to figure out this part,
Yeah.
make sure that it will hit and trigger it, but not, it's got to be just right the way it does it, because if you hit it too hard or the block's not right, then
Mm-hmm.
you bend these up, and I know they're cheap, but you don't want to be replacing them all the time. So
Yeah.
I really like those others. I think they're going to be great. I'm super stoked to get that last bracket 3D printed, and I'll wait until tomorrow whenever Amazon brings the other ones that are normally closed, and I'll play around with one of those to see how the wiring does. Although, as long as these are working the way I want them to work, to me, it doesn't make this kind of 6 of one, half dozen of another.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Jerry had some good news. He quit vaping a week ago.
I was just
Awesome.
reading that. That's awesome, Jerry.
Good deal.
That is awesome news. Stick with it, buddy.
Yep. Very good. Yeah, some good thoughts. We'll get her figured out.
Well, here, let me give you something else to think about. And I don't know how far along you are with your design, but if you're just now thinking about some kind of limit or homing switches, that tells me that hadn't been into the thought process until now, which is the kind of the way it was with that Sidewinder. When I designed and built that, I wasn't even thinking of that stuff. That, to me, back then, that was a luxury.
Yeah. Well, you had a drawer of upgrades for quite a few years.
Yeah. So, but it's kind of one of those things where, and I was telling Melinda this, because when I went over there the other day to help her set up that Avid, she has an old Sidewinder. That's what she had been running all these years.
Yeah.
And just like my old one, she had no limit switches, no homing switches. So she was used to just turning it on, jogging it to a spot, hit reference all home, and then zero, and that was home and the work coordinates. In fact, she looked at me funny when I said something about work coordinates, like machine coordinates, work. She didn't understand the difference, and I'm like, well, you probably wouldn't, because you've never worked with a machine where that come into play. But I told her, I said, you're in the big leagues now. You better learn the difference between work coordinates and machine coordinates. So I think, after we went over it a couple of times, I think she gets it. I said, reference all homes, the first button you push, you let it home, it's going to home in the back right. And then when you get done, you move it to wherever you want your X and Y, but you don't hit, and I told her, I said, that's going to be your hardest thing, because since you're always used to hitting reference all home to pick that spot. I said, you're going to have to forget that. You hit reference all home once, home it, then move it to where you want your work coordinates, and then hit the 0 on the X and the Y, and then put your tool in, whatever, then get your probe.
Yeah.
Do your Z. But she's already, well, I don't know if she's running any project, but I know she's already resurfaced the table. So I'm thinking she's getting it all figured out without anything. But like I said, once you ever run a machine, or at least in my opinion, once you ever run a machine without homing switches, and then you run a machine with homing switches, you don't want to go back the other way. It's just so nice, especially all these people that, do these long carves and stuff, and the power goes out and you lose your space. That's a thing of the past if you got homing switches. You never have to worry about that again. So.
Very cool.
All right. Well, I guess we don't have any other questions or anything, do we?
Nope, not at the moment.
All right. Jerry says smash the like button. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Well, like I said, I guess we'll get up there. I didn't. You just have to take my word for it that I figured out that monitor thing because I didn't show you. But it is working fantastic. And I'd have to say the instructions on how to set it up suck. But once I slept on it and come out the next day, and I'm like, duh, you know, it's a touchscreen monitor. So when I was hitting that button to open up the menu, I then thought you had to touch the screen. But the menu that showed up was just telling you what each of those buttons were. And once I figured that out, I'm like, oh, crap. So I do have it running off a VGA cable and not the HDMI cable. And I have it set, I think I mentioned this last week. I always used to, well, on all these computers, I always hide the taskbar. So you don't see it at the bottom of the screen. You have to move the mouse down there. And when you do, the taskbar pops up. Well, in Mach 3, on that little screen, the bottom part of the screen, there isn't anything anyway. So I turned off hiding the taskbar, so it's popped up all the time. And then there's a little button where I pin my keyboard button to the taskbar. So now every time I want to type something, I can just hit that keyboard button and the QWERTY keyboard comes up. Or if you just highlight something that it knows it requires text, it pops up automatically. So really digging the little touchscreen monitor. The arm, as I mentioned, it's working great, but only after I put my crappy weld on it because it was falling apart when I got it. But really happy with that.
How did it? Can you show us how it mounted to your table?
Well, sure I can. Let me. I think.
That way, if we want to spend $20 and a couple welds,
Yeah,
later.
all the links for the monitor. I don't know if I've added that bracket or the mounting arm or not, but I've got a bunch of Amazon links for all the stuff that I've been talking about and using. All right, let me. You'll have to drive the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Here's my mount, and you can see. Well, I've got this. I was going to move this, but I got this screwed down. But this is just one of those things where it just clips on the side of a desk. So since this is 3/4 plywood, I just got this clamped. Right here's my crummy weld that I shouldn't be showing you. But
we can't see it that close anyway. It's all right.
Okay, that's good.
Now, a little bit of paint covers a lot of stuff.
And then if I turn this around, can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And here's what I was talking about. I keep the taskbar up all the time, and then there's a little keyboard button that you can tap, and that'll pop up. So if I want to jog it, I can just hit this, and then I have these arrow keys here. There's the left arrow moving, and I'll bring the Y forward. And you'll notice that it doesn't have a page up and page down, but I have programmed the hotkeys so that I use the U for up and the D for down. So if I push D,
oh, there you go.
Those are easy to remember. So, and again, if you just hit the reference all home, and like I said, I've only got the Z and the X. And the other thing I was having a problem with the other night is if you click right up here on this keyboard, there are different keyboards. We'll see there's a couple of arrows there, but that doesn't work with this. So I kept trying different ones, and I thought, well, that's just if you want to type something. I don't have any arrow keys or anything. So finally, I just kept going, and then it's got this one where if you want to do it like that, But finally, I hit the right one, and I'm like, okay, this is the one I can work with because, like I said, this now has the arrow keys
Yeah.
that work. And then again, since it doesn't have the page up and page down, I just use U for up and D for down, which is easy enough for even an idiot like me to remember. So, but yeah, once I put a weld on that and it's really sturdy, I can sit here and poke on it. And the plan is one reason why I wanted an arm to swing is, again, once I get this all set up, it's going to be homing to this back right back here. So once you get that done, when you go turn it off, I can take this and move it and then not bump into it as I walk around over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really happy with this, even after having to fix it. That's ridiculous with stuff already being broke when you got it. But you know, $20 is $20, I guess. So,
Yep. You only paid for $20 welds.
yeah. Well, I'm betting that whatever little Chinese factory that was made in, I bet it was all robotic welds
Yeah.
because there was a pretty weld on it. It's just it missed where the two pieces come together, and it's only where it was barely touching. It was like a little teeny tack, and then once I set the monitor on it, it went boom.
Yeah.
It started put the other side of it is pretty good. It's just that one side it drooped down. I'm like, no, I'm gonna have to take it all apart just to. And again, I was telling Ryan that I was gonna make one myself. You know, CNC a bracket out of wood and all
Well, you
this
have
kind of
plans
stuff.
for it on your website,
Well, it's kind of similar.
kind of the desk one or
But I thought,
the
yeah, I'll just
keyboard.
save time. It's only $20. I'll just buy one. Then I ended up spending a freaking another 30 minutes having to drag my welder out, find my welding hood, and get everything set up just to put a little tack on there. So didn't save any time at all on that.
Yeah. The I had bought a little trailer back in October and just recently was able to get it ready for the road and all that. But I had to weld some mounts for fenders onto it because it didn't have any fenders on it. And I hadn't welded in 20 years probably. And and the welds look like it. they're completely missing where they're supposed to be. It's like I was a $20 arm on a computer monitor arm.
Jerry, I'm getting you a link. I thought I had the link down below, but I don't see it. I might have forgotten to put it on there, but I just got this the other
Yeah,
day.
John Thompson wanted the link too.
I'm getting it right now, my friends.
I had ordered
It's currently $169 on Amazon.
I had ordered a cheap touch screen, and I guess it was too cheap to actually include the touch screen. So I sent that thing back, and they were like, "Why are you returning?" I said, "Because it said touchscreen, and it's not a touchscreen."
Okay, there's a link I just put in the chat. I guess it works. Now this Asus, I had the same kind of monitor that I used with my Avid, only it was bigger. It was I want to say about 20. I see they got a 21.5 inch. Of course, they're measured diagonally, and that's $200. So for $30 more, you can get one quite a bit bigger. But this is 15.6 inches. Again, they measure them diagonally. It's about a little less than 15 straight across. But I think it's a good size. I didn't want anything too big and bulky. And, being a small monitor, it doesn't weigh anything. So sitting on that little mount, it's real sturdy. And like I say, I can swing it out of the way when I'm done. Somebody try that link that I put in there and see if it works. It looks like it's got a funny character in it.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if does it work?
I don't know.
I just clicked on it.
All right.
Yep, it works.
Spend a couple $1,000 while you're over there, Paul.
Yes, it does.
I don't know. We don't want Paul to buy anything because then we all end up buying
So
stuff.
you can get your few cents.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess it does. It does work. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I saw that weird character in here,
Yeah.
and I wasn't sure it was working. It looks like it is. But yeah, there's all kinds of links of all the stuff I've bought and used. Oh, I didn't show you. I don't know if you noticed this. I haven't connected it yet, but you know this. Let's see if I can get it off. This was all designed in Design Spark Mechanical. This fits over the whatever size hose that is for a shop vac. I think it was like 2.25. I want to say 2.25. And
Yeah.
this slips over it, and then this is for my 4-inch hose that will be suspended from the ceiling that goes to my dust collection in the corner. So I'm thinking that will work really cool when I get it. Of course, I had to kind of offset it like that because the router sits right back here, and I couldn't center it up. But I think the way I've got it kind of swoop and curve, I think it'll work good.
Sweet.
So pretty excited about getting this whole thing modernized a little bit and running like it should. And I'll still eventually probably swap out the control, because can y'all hear the fans running? Can you hear that whine?
No.
Okay, it's loud to me.
So
I guess it's because the enclosure's metal and it has 2 big fans, and then they have the metal screen, so it kind of whistles as it blows. I mean, it's just super loud to me. Drives me nuts. But I'll probably be taking all that stuff off the demo board. I'll clean this off once I get all my homing sensors done, and we'll probably do some of that together one night here. I'll probably make my box laser cut, so maybe I'll do that on here as well.
So Jerry's asking what the monitor is hooked up to. Did you condemn that the old computer that was taking forever to boot up?
Well, yeah, it's that old. It's not the little one that the bare one that was out of the kiosk. It's the other one, that old Dell. It's kind of pokey booting up, but it does have Windows. I don't know, Windows 10 or 11, I think. And it's like I said, it's plenty of horsepower to run Mach 3 and that. And plus, that's how I stumbled onto those pictures that I showed earlier tonight. Is I've been every once in a while just coming out here, and for a break, I'll just go looking through the hard drive and see what's on it and deleting a bunch of, there was Christmas challenge stuff on there, and all kinds of stuff that takes up a lot of room. So I'm slowly getting all that cleaned up, but yeah, it's just hooked up to that old Dell, and then of course it has a USB cable running from the computer, USB A, and then USB B, I think, is what plugs into that, just like what you'd plug into a Genmitsu or whatever.
Yeah.
Same kind of USB. I just now realized, I guess the way I got that turned, those fans are blowing this way. That's why they're so loud. They're facing me. But yeah, I'm going to run it like that for a while, and then after I got a breakout board on that demo board over there, but I think I mentioned the other week I've given away all of my motion controllers, so I don't have any more. And I looked on Amazon. I told you to beware if you go to eBay or Amazon. Don't buy the one that's like $50 or whatever, because it's counterfeit. It won't work right. But I found one that's for the company, because the company CNC 4 PC. They sell on Amazon. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And it was like 140 something bucks, I think. I'm like, holy crap. Okay, here's one. Let me make sure see, they all look legit. This one says 138. Brand CNC drive. Okay, that's legit. But I saw one that was from CNC 4 PC. Yeah, here it is right here. Oh, I'm not even sharing that one.
Nope.
We'll do this. See, look at that, 143.52 for that one. But you have to watch the brand. Don't get it from some Chinese seller you never heard of. And here you can see this is where I purchased. So I purchased this 4 times, according to this. And I'll be damned if every one of them I give away to somebody, thinking, "Oh, I'll let you use this till you get your own." And that's
Yeah, that's the
that's
last
the
time I
last
see
I
it.
see it. You know how that works. Yeah, you can use mine till you buy one.
And then you never buy one. Yep.
Yeah,
I know how that goes.
but anyway, I don't know if I'm going to get one of those. I probably will because I've already got a breakout board. All that works fine. There's nothing wrong with the way it works. It's just laid out all goofy with wires going every way because it's a demo board. But I'll design some kind of a box and laser cut it. Maybe we'll do that on here one night and then start pulling that stuff off and take lots of pictures so I can remember how it's wired up. That's thank God for smartphones. At least that's one good thing they're good for. They're not good for much else, but
Yeah.
I love being able to take a picture of something and blow it up where I can read it. So, all right. Well, we've been on there an hour and a half. That's about long enough, I would say. I hate that Jim couldn't make it, but maybe I can convince Jim to do a private interview with me discussing the ins and outs of proximity sensors, and then I'll put that out as a YouTube video or something.
Sweet.
Maybe he'd do that. So
Cool.
all right. Well, I guess we'll get ready to get out of here. Let me find the stupid button here. I don't ever know where. There it is. I think I got it. All right, everybody. This Saturday, head over to watch Making It Up as we go. Check out Ryan and Paul and Sean and that other Paul guy, and see what he's up to.
You know it.
So,
Appreciate it.
good night, everybody. We will see y'all next week.
See ya.